sister on the throne. Nothing is more important.
Yo, this show's incredible. It's good to see you guys again.
Good to see you again.
Yes, I finally saw the first 4 now, so I'm inching my way through the season, and I cannot wait to get 5 and 6. Sarah-Sofie, how does Ynez envision leading the Imperium to a better future, and what motivates her aspirations beyond the pursuit of power and spices?
Well, I think for her, she feels that in learning the abilities of that she can learn on Warlock 9, attending the sisterhood is something that will make her a stronger and more powerful future leader. Should be able to truth say herself and all of that, which could help her. So I feel like that's how she envisioned that, I think. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, Chris, it's a pleasure to meet you. We have an Atreides in Dune Prophecy. Can you talk about Kieran's complex relationship with Princess Ynez and how that influences his decisions as he navigates the court's corruption and his family's legacy?
Yeah, I mean, talk about bad timing in terms of relationships. You know, I think it would have been easier if it played out the way I think they both thought it would have played out. But there's definitely a star-crossed, Romeo and Juliet kind of lover thing going on there. Like, it shouldn't happen, but it did, and it definitely brings in conflict. And all the way up until, she arrives and saves the day at one point, and stops him. So, yeah, it's not the best timing for him, but it's something that he sees in her that is true in her heart, that he believes is in his too.
Absolutely. Now, Josh, man, I love Constantine. How does Constantine navigate this complicated? Yes, of course. How does he navigate this complicated relationship with his father, who has convinced him of his own weakness? And how does that dynamic influence his decisions moving throughout the season?
I think the Constantine's relationship with his father motivates a lot of his decisions because he's continuously trying to seek his approval, and for the way their relationship is built at the moment, he can never seem to get that. And I guess, especially because you watch episode 4 now. Yeah, so I think he definitely struggles with that, and I feel like that gives a lot of insight into how he explores and tries to blow off steam. Like he goes to the spice den or he indulges in this, but I think his insecurities that his father gives him kind of explains why he's kind of hasn't necessarily picked a specific side. He's continuously trying to figure that out, and I guess it leads to his downfall here and there, but yeah. Absolutely.
Now, Sarah-Sofie, as we move throughout the season, we kind of get Ynez's view of what power is. And given her challenges with the position being heir to the throne and her plan to study with the sisterhood, how do you think Ynez navigates the independence in a world where everyone seems to be a pawn for power in the game of power?
Well, I think she tries to use her power in a way that feels authentic to her, and I think it's very complicated because, as you say, everyone are trying to get power, keep power, some lose power, that's so much of the show, but for her, she's trying to find a way to use her power in the position that she's born into, but in the right way that feels truthful to her, which might change, from in the show,
Sure. Yeah. Now, I feel like the Corrinos, there's not a lot of people that they can trust. For Sarah-Sofie and Josh, is there anyone Ynez and Constantine trust amidst the complex dynamics of family and politics? And how do each of your characters kind of approach loyalty and keeping secrets in this dangerous world?
Well, I think it's, for them, because of how they're brought up and the life that they live, they know that they can't trust a lot of people, because, and they live a very secluded life. They, strangers want something out of them because of their position. And that's something that they've been aware of, I think, their whole life, which makes them not trust a lot of people as well, They went through something traumatic when they were children that made their bond even closer. And I think that the room they create with each other is kind of like their only room where they can let go of the royal facade and just, talk about how they're really feeling.
You get to
know?
see the real them behind
Yeah.
closed doors once it's just the two of them. But for Constantine, he doesn't trust anyone other than Nez. Like even in the house, like Princess Natalia would still use him for certain games as on the chessboard, whether it be after or to get intel from someone else. But from his perspective, the only person he can trust, not even his father, is just Princess Nez.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's the same for Nez, and then obviously she also has a close bond to Kasha, but I think to have someone that goes through the exact same thing for them is everything, because they're so used to these ways of the political alliances forming all the time and doing something because then it's good for these people. Like that's just how everything is surrounding them.
Yeah, and I think Constantine's relationship with everyone other than Nez is quite transactional.
Yeah.
So this is for this, or this is for that, or this is to go party, or this is to get something from someone else. But I think Nez is his only true, like, genuine relationship.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now,
and also
Chris,
like
go ahead.
just like throughout, I don't know, can I say something about those episodes that so I think like what you'll see is also how like Nez realizes how even her parents, like how a lot of their choices are based on what's good for them politically and not necessarily what's the nicest thing to do, she kind of realizes that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, Chris, many may not expect to find an Atreides character in Kieran's circumstance, but what aspects of playing the role in Dune Prophecy surprised you the most? And how far off is Kieran from Timothée Chalamet's Paul in the movies in terms of political power and legacy?
Atreides have got a long way to go. I think that's where we start off in Dune Prophecy. It's nowhere near the house that it is that we see with Paul Atreides, but it's an interesting story to tell of like where Kieran is right now. Obviously he's working his way up and we see him go through his conflicted things, but also trying to do what he believes is right for the right people. And he almost like wants to be on the right side of history, right? I think is how he sees it. And he's using the weight of his name to get him into certain places, but he's still got a long way to go before he becomes, the leaders that they become.
Now, Josh, in his quest to demonstrate his value to his family, what internal conflicts does Constantine face, and what does he struggle with when choosing between familial duty and personal desire?
I think Constantine's coping mechanism to dealing with the pressure of being in the royal house was turning to vices that he has access to, whether it be the drugs, sex, or alcohol, or even his instrument. He kind of find anything to distract himself. So that's his biggest obstacle, is maintaining direction and focus in trying to achieve power, or trying to be a good brother, or someone that can garner respect and admiration. But his biggest issue is that when times get tough or he faces some sort of struggle, he goes after the easiest or quickest gratification of dopamine hit or anything like that. So his biggest barrier is just himself really, and the desires that he has, and how he's learned to deal with being in such a high pressure environment.
Interesting. Now, Sarah-Sofie, what are Ynez's thoughts on distancing herself from her family, especially with the presence of Desmond Hart? And how does that impact the relationship and decisions that she makes throughout the course of the season?
Well, she doesn't like, losing her family, but it's something that this soldier arrives and all of a sudden, these things are happening and her dad is changing, Nez loves her dad and feels like he is a good man, but he's just so, he's trying to position himself, and in that, he becomes enamored with this Desmond Hart, and in Nez's eyes forgets his good values, and that Nez, once she's seen what they're doing, with Pruitt's death and like everything that Desmond is playing a part in, what he's doing, she's like, once she's seen that, she can't, she's like, I need to speak up for what's right, which is very much her. She fights for what she believes in. And something that I really like think is so strong throughout the season is like she's fighting for her dad to wake up. She's like, why can't you see that this man is ruining everything, you know? Like, it's not the right way to go about things. He needs to get out. And I think for her, kind of being more and more put to the side by her family is also very hard for her because she's not used to that. And then when you know, Constantine doesn't show up for her, she's all by herself for the first time, you know, but she's like, this is the last chance I have for waking my father up in front of everybody. And she, you know, she thinks she can, but then obviously things go another way. And I think that's also all of this things, you know, getting pushed away from her family, from Constantine, being all by herself, but feeling so strongly about what she believes is right is also what's pushing her to open up to Kieran, you know, and
they have in common.
because
really...
for her, you know, she's not used to opening up to anyone. So I think that's very surprising for her. Like, you know, it starts off as, you know, hot trainer, you know, a bit of fun. And then all of a sudden, you know,
there's a connection there.
There's a connection, yeah. And they have the same morals and ideas, yeah. And she realizes, okay, I am not crazy. Someone else is seeing what I'm seeing as well. Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
You guys are incredible. Thank you so much for your time. This show is so epic. I can't wait for everyone to watch it. 6 weeks of Dune. Oh, that's everybody's gonna love it, man.
Great.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys' time.
Thank you so much.
very
Good
much,
seeing
man.
you again.
Good seeing you guys again.
Take out your blade.